Day 28 is down in the books. We're wrapping this up, y'all. We getting down to the wire. But today I want to briefly talk about keeping boundaries in place. As we are getting down to the wire of this fast, I want you to really consider how setting certain boundaries during a fast, like actual physical boundaries of not eating certain things or whatever, has helped you. A lot of the time we think about boundaries, it's like, those boundaries, I don't know if I want them boundaries or if I want to be on the other side of that boundary, but a boundary is a good way to say like, hey, this is as far as I'm going to take this, or this is as far as I'm going to allow something to be. And so even though we have set boundaries around food, mostly, I mean, some of you during this fast may have also set boundaries around social media or what you listen to. I know I did. I took it to the max as much as I could. So I try to listen to only things that are Christian based and edifying or uplifting. I try to watch things that are the same. I try to obviously eat certain things, like eat clean. So it's not that I'm just fasting, but when I can't eat, I'm eating things that are not as processed, that naturally come from the earth, so on and so forth. So I try to take this to the max as much as possible. And I've noticed that setting these boundaries in different spheres of my life have yielded a great benefit. Like, I'm in a better headspace. Generally speaking, some days have truly ripped me a new one, but I've been able to bounce back sooner rather than later. I've been able to not be weighed down by it like I would have been. I feel better in my body. I don't feel as tired, even though, again, some days have ripped me a new one. Your girl be doing a lot when the day comes. And I'm getting older, so the exhaustion is going to come, but again, it doesn't grip me like how it used to. My palate has changed. I can't even eat stuff now that's too junky. Like, it don't even have to be junky. It could be something that's restaurant bought. Like, the other day I was out working. I said, let me get me a chicken sandwich. Y'all, that thing ripped me an entire new one by the time I got home. I was like, oh my goodness, like, home cooking truly is different from restaurant food. Like, you can cook the exact same chicken sandwich. You can make the exact same salad at home, and it's going to do your body different than if you go and buy it in a restaurant. It's like they use different stuff. And at the end of the day, at your house, you know what you're putting in it and you can control the ingredients better. But I say all that to say these boundaries have yielded an amazing benefit in so many ways for me. And I'm going to keep it going. Honestly, past October, I'm going to keep it going because I've seen the lifestyle change and I've seen how the Lord has allowed certain things to take place months prior to prepare me for this moment. So prime example, and I'm going to just be super transparent in this part of the message. Right now, I don't have medical insurance. So I was on Medicaid and then they took it away because you basically, in order to be an adult on Medicaid, you either got to be pregnant at this point or you got to have like the other parent on child support. And it's just a whole thing, right? So I was just like, okay, well, there goes Medicaid for me. And so I would say for the past 6 months, I haven't had medical insurance. I have access to certain things like through some gig work jobs that I do. Like when you do so many rides with Lyft, with Uber, with Grubhub, you get access to medical insurance, but it's not as comprehensive and obviously as cheap as like Medicaid. So I just haven't been like going to the doctors as much as I normally would for certain health conditions and such. And so I was very distraught. I was like, God, I don't know why this would happen. Like at all times now, this, that, the third. And so I spent the summer in Guyana. That was kind of the first prepping of my body because the food there is so fresh. Everything is just, generally speaking, healthier. Even the junk food is healthier. It's weird. Like, it's hard to describe, but if you've been overseas and you've eaten food in like, especially like the Caribbean and I would say like Africa, places like that, like you know what I'm saying. You feel me right now. It hits different over there. The food is so much fresher and stuff. And so that was like the first cleansing of my body. And then when I came home in August, I was pretty much like somewhat back to normal in my eating habits. But then in September, the Lord was like prepping my body to fast again. So this is like the second round of prepping my body because I was so busy. I wasn't really eating throughout the day. I would eat like one meal a day and it was unintentional fasting. I was like, dang, like I could barely get a meal in. I'm over here grinding. What's going on? And I knew in October, since August, I pretty much knew in October we were going to fast. So I was like, well, I'll just roll with it because in October I'm going to have to fast anyway. So by the time October came, I'm mentally prepared to fast, but my body had went through these 2 other rounds of preparation. And so the temptation when you make up your mind to fast or stick to something is going to it's going to heighten. Like the enemy's going to be like, oh, you want to fast for real now? Eat this honey bun, eat these fries. Like it's going to be something that comes in your mind. And it's like, dang, like I wasn't even craving this 2 weeks ago. And now it's like, I'm fiending for it. Like it's a insatiable craving. Like I just can't help myself. And so I was just like, okay, God, I'm going to set these boundaries in place. I'm going to clean eat and this and that the third. So me losing my health insurance, I was telling my mom this the other day, I was like, me losing the Medicaid kind of was a blessing in disguise, because it's like through me fasting, I could feel the health benefits. I know I done went all the way around the mulberry bush. You probably like, what was the point of that? But I was like, me fasting, I could feel the health benefits. I'm losing the weight. My skin is clearer. My system is running smoother. I don't feel as weighed down. I'm pretty sure if I were to go into a lab today and they were to take my blood sugar, they would be like, wow, okay. You know, they will be like, what are you doing? You haven't even been on medication. So I said all that to say, the boundaries that the Lord has moved me to put in place, or the environments he's put me in that have moved me to set certain boundaries, have benefited me in the long run. And so I hope that this fast has been an awakening experience for you in that way, where you can see like these boundaries I'm setting are yielding results. Maybe it's moving me to repentance. Maybe it's moving me to, you know, not eat certain things and to change my palate to things that are healthier for me. Maybe it's moved me to not engage in certain activities and to feel the conviction behind why I shouldn't. So I just want to encourage you to keep those boundaries in place. When November comes, don't just be back to your old habits, back to the old things. Like you can enjoy obviously a piece of cake or some ice cream or something like that next month, because we're not officially fasting anymore. But I would encourage you to, in some way, shape, or form, keep those boundaries up, even if it's just in a minute way, so you can continue to see the fruit of it. Because boundaries are a good thing. Like I said, sometimes we see boundaries as bad. Sometimes we're like, God, even when it comes to what God commands us to do and what he calls us, the life he calls us to live, we could be like, dang, like, why don't you want me to do this? Why can't I do that? Why can't this, that, the third? But it's like, in the end, he does that for our own good. Like he sets these boundaries in place so that we don't have to experience some of the heartache that we experience. We don't have to experience some of the hardships and the pitfalls that we experience when we do it our own way. And so I even hope that this fast has shifted your mindset behind boundaries and that you see it as a good thing and to enforce them more. So don't throw everything you've gained during these last few weeks by the wayside come November 1st. Like, think about what are some boundaries you're going to keep doing. Maybe you're going to say, I'm not even going to really listen to secular music anymore. I'm just going to listen to edifying music. Even if it's not overtly gospel or Christian, like it's edifying. Maybe you're going to say, you know what? I ain't even going to eat fried foods anymore. Like I'm going to take a break on that for the next few months and just see what, it could be something like that, but just figure out like what boundary would be good for you to continue running with to see the fruitfulness in your life. So that's all I have for today, y'all. I will talk to you for day 29, and that'll be the first of the last 3 days. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of For My Sisters Rondelle podcast. Don't forget to keep the conversation going and use the hashtag #ForMySistersPod on social media so I can see you and show you some love. If there are any topics you'd like me to discuss on the podcast, be sure to email formysisterspodcast@gmail.com. I'll see you on the next episode. Love you. Bye.